This is question number 5 from homework number 12. The question says if you have f of x is equal to 7x minus 5x all to the sixth power, find the critical values and then find the intervals on which the function is increasing and decreasing, or what happens on the interval from negative infinity to the critical value, and then from the critical value to positive infinity. So to do that, we're going to begin with the function, and to find the critical values, we know that we have to find the derivative and make the derivative is equal to 0, and then solve for x to find those critical values. So we're going to find the derivative. The derivative function is f prime of x is equal to, we will use the chain rule in this case to differentiate this function. So we have to bring the power down, so 6, and then keep the parentheses as they are, and then 6 minus 1 is 5 times the derivative of what's inside the parentheses. And then the derivative of what's inside the parentheses is 0 minus 5, which is negative 5. So the final answer for the derivative is negative 30 times 7 minus 5x all to the fifth power. Now we need to make the derivative equals to 0 in order to find those critical values. So we're going to say negative 30 times 7 minus 5x all to the fifth power is equal to 0. We can divide by 30, so the 30 will be removed. And then take the fifth root for both sides of the equation, so we will have 7 minus 5x is equal to 0. And then we solve this equation basically, so we will have negative 5x is equal to negative 7. And based on that, we will have x is equal to negative 7 over negative 5, which is 7 over 5. So we have this critical value. This critical value is going to divide the domain of the function into two intervals. So here's 7 over 5. The first interval goes from negative infinity to 7 over 5. And then the second interval goes from 7 over 5 to positive infinity. Now we're going to test the sign of the derivative function to determine where the function is increasing and decreasing. So the first interval is from negative infinity to 7 over 5, which is equivalent to saying x is less than a, all of the numbers that are less than the critical value. The second interval goes from 7 over 5 to positive infinity, which is equivalent to saying x is greater than the critical value a. Now we will choose any testing points that are in the interval. So from negative infinity to 7 over 5, 0 is the easiest value that I can choose. And then from 7 over 5 to positive infinity, 7 over 5 is basically 1 and 2 over 5. So I can choose 2 or 3 or anything bigger than that. I will choose 2. Now we need to find the sign of the derivative function. So we're going to plug the testing value into the derivative function. Here is the derivative function. We need to plug the values, the testing values, into the derivative function and see the sign of the derivative function. So I'm going to erase this mess and do the work here. So if I plug 0 into the derivative function, I will get negative 30 times 7 minus 5 times 0 all to the fifth power, which is equivalent to negative 30 times 7 minus 5 times 0 is 0, so 7 to the fifth power. I notice that the answer here is going to be negative. I don't care about the value. I just need the sign of the answer. So the sign is negative something. Now, if I plug 2 into the derivative function, I will get negative 30 times 7 minus 5 times 2 raised to the fifth power. And the answer is going to be negative 30 times 7 minus 10 is negative 3 raised to the fifth power is equal to negative 3 raised to the fifth power. Since 5 is an odd number, I know the answer is going to be negative, and I have negative here, so the final answer will be positive something. You can verify. As a result here, the conclusion will be the function is decreasing on the interval where x is less than the critical value, and it is increasing on the interval where values are greater than the critical value that I found. So to answer this question here, I will type in the critical value that I found. And for all of the x's that are less than the critical value, the function is decreasing. And for all of the values that are greater than the critical value, the function is increasing. And then submit my answer. I hope this video helped you understand the process. It is the same for question number 6 and 7. So watch the same video to answer those questions. And I will see you in a different video.